I am Steve Magnanti doing the Junkyard Crawl at P&F Auto Parts in Munson, Massachusetts with a 19 who knows Volkswagen Beetle-ish thing. Now, when I was a kid, I built this. This is the IMC Volkswagen gasser. You could build it either stock or as a gasser with a Hemi motor. You can see on the side of the box, we can see right here, there's the cutaway of the engine inside. I wonder if maybe the builder of this thing behind me had that kit as a child because he took a Volkswagen Beetle and invaded it with a flathead Ford V8, which is pretty much shoved back almost under the windshield wipers right there. That's a stock Ford flathead V8 right there. The Volkswagen six-banger is long gone. At the back of the car is nothing, just an empty void. But that's a flathead Ford, probably out of a Ford truck of some kind, a big Ford truck. The original radiator still in place. If they used a gas torch to just basically blow the metal out of the way as needed and just make room. There's kind of you call this a doodle bog. Some people drive around in the woods, and a great place to drive this thing would be out in the boondocks. Basically stock, has the generator, the two water pumps from Ford. That's a little known fact is that Ford flatheads had two water pumps, one on each side. That's why there's two pulleys. Basically, Henry Ford like to make one part do as many jobs as possible, except when it comes to water pumps, which is why these have one on each side to make sure that the engine block would cool as well as it can. Because on flatheads, the block is the exhaust manifold. The exhaust gases pass through the engine block, so localized heating not a good idea. Thus, two pumps to keep the coolant moving around and keep things from getting too hot in localized spots. Front axle on this thing is a beam axle with a transverse leaf spring out of a very heavy-duty Ford application of some kind. Kind of weird, massive Ford drum brakes up front, mechanical brakes too. You can see that rod there. That's for a push rod that is actuated by the brake pedal. They're not hydraulic. They're drum brakes by way of a rod, mechanical brakes on this. And I'd say about 1966 with the glass covers here with the little parking lights inside, the beams there. I believe it's a parking light. It's not a directional at all. Maybe it is directional. I don't know. I'm not big. I'm up on my Volkswagen Beetle trivia. No, the directionals are up here. So that's probably a parking light, that thing right there. Kind of weird. So coming around to the side, we'll open the door and let Reverend Evan, the cameraman, get a view. Actually, the rear suspension of this thing is kind of weird. In fact, there is no suspension. There's no leaf springs, nothing. The axle is bolted to the bottom of that frame, which has been truncated by way, again, of the heat torch to shorten it up for the wheelbase that would suit this thing. And going through the woods in this thing, probably anywhere you want to go. But you can see there the engine inside of the cockpit and the pedals there for the clutch and the brakes right there, so to speak. And yeah, the brakes are, again, they're rod actuated. So the left one it actuates not a master cylinder, but actually a rod that then works the brake shoes, expands them and slows this beast down. Kind of weird to see two steering wheels. You might wonder what's up with that. Well, the original Volkswagen steering wheel was kind of in the way. So they just sort of invaded the original Ford pickup truck steering wheel right here, does the job. And just really a lash up. This is backyard. It's not even backyard. It's way backyard. It's under the yard engineering on this thing, but kind of neat how it's how to make nothing out of something. There's something out of nothing or nothing out of nothing, as it were. This thing hasn't been driven for a long time, I dare say. It's been a while since it has moved. Take a look around the back. And ordinarily in a Volkswagen Beetle, you find the engine, the air-cooled flat four back here. But it's like trick or treat. You open the trunk here, and what do you got? Nothing. Just a big old space to look at the rear axle. Looks like something out of a large, a big truck, like a 5-ton truck, something like that. A gas truck, almost certainly, gasoline powered. So not a 2-speed axle, just a regular, one-speed rear axle. And again, probably geared like a 715 or something like that to crawl up a tree or wherever you want to go. But kind of weird to see, a little bit of stock architecture still in place. The original shock absorbers are still just hanging there, like with no place to go. The original control arms for the rear suspension, the half arms, the control arms, all that stuff sort of just hanging, moot testimony to what this thing used to be, a Volkswagen Beetle, and now it's a truck, or an off-road beast, a doodlebug, call it what you will. And here it is with Ford hubcaps right here. So the front axle and the suspension certainly from some sort of a big 2-ton or more Ford truck. And a kind of a weird lash up of bits and pieces. And speaking of lashing up, in 1966, Volkswagen finally went to a smaller 5-on-4.5 bolt pattern. Well, if you had an earlier Volkswagen and you wanted to use modern wheels on, you got one of these things. It's an aluminum adapter for the big Volkswagen bolt pattern, which I think 64 and before, and 65 or 6, they finally went to the small bolts. If you want to convert a earlier Volkswagen to 5-lug wheels, you needed one of these things, 4 of them actually, if you wanted to do it right. So that's the story of this 1960. Who knows? Who cares? Volkswagen slash pickup truck, or truck, I should say, big Ford truck, guts, flathead motor, etc. So kind of a weird creature. If you want to know more about this, maybe buy it, give it to your wife as an anniversary gift. It'll be the last gift you give her, probably. But anyway, with that said, you can reach out to the owners of this yard at P&F Auto Parts in Munson, Massachusetts by calling 413-267-5167 or going online and looking at pnfautoparts.com. Hope you like this video, and if you do, or if you did, be sure to subscribe to Steve Mag's YouTube channel and come back tomorrow for the next Junkyard Crawl video. Thanks for watching.